Guys, welcome to another episode of In Those We Trust, Sports Edition. Got myself in the bit on Malik Howard, and of course, my guy right here with me, Liam Stokes. What's good, my guy?
What's up, Lee? What's going on?
How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. I watched a lot of football. Didn't do damn much else, but yeah, got to watch my Eagles clinch in one seed. So now I'm chilling this week. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do.
Oh, I know what you're going to do. You're going to tune into to the Cowboys. That's what the fuck you're going to do.
Yeah.
It's going to be some good football this weekend. But where do we want to kick it off? I think I would rather kick it off with some NFL talk. We've recently been talking about the NFL. I mean, college so much. I think right now college is where it's at. But let's talk about some NFL.
Yeah.
We had the Eagles, Cowboys, the excitement of the league, around the league, dealing with the what-ifs of how things go. The what ifs of scheduling, playoff rankings, whatever you have you. But around the league, let's say at least for the NFC East, we have the Cowboys needing the Eagles to lose and to beat Washington to clinch first round. What is that? To clinch the division.
Yeah. Yep. And then the Cowboys, I believe, also needed, again, going into it, they needed the Niners and Eagles to both lose, Cowboys to win to get that one seed.
To get the one seed, right? To get the first round bye, which I knew was never happening. Once I saw the news that Jalen Hurts was playing, and the 49ers are where they've been at and how they've been playing, that was not going to happen. So we had the Eagles beat the Giants, Cowboys go down, sadly, to Washington. Where do you want to start, my guy?
Oh, man. You know what? Let's start with the team that will have to play this week. The team that lost to a third-string quarterback, the Dallas Cowboys. Malik, I'll kind of just lead us off, and I'll let you go into it. It seems like every week we've talked about your fears with Dak, your fears with Mike McCarthy, your fears with this defense. It's every week. It's every single week. And again, here we are. You're talking about a Cowboys loss, a bad one. And, you know, it's not so much like you said, was the expectation a one seed for you going into this weekend? Probably not. You knew the Niners were rolling. You knew the Eagles were getting Jalen Hurts back. But to lose in the fashion that you did to Washington, a team that was already knocked out. Again, I know we talk about the divisions, and they are always tough games. But again, it really boils down to the offense putting up 6 points. It's Dak throwing interceptions again. It's this third-string rookie quarterback for Washington who is making his first start look decent enough to go out and win a game. And again, I don't think that game showed us that the Cowboys are a bad football team. Obviously, they're not. You don't go 12-4, 12-5, whatever they were, and be a bad football team. But in terms of now making the playoffs and potentially going further, it's tough to see that. It's tough to come off of that game, have all your starters play. You and I know we talked about this. Although you have in the back of your mind that this might not happen, as a player, you have to go out and just ball out yourself and then worry about the help later. And that's why the NFL positioned everything. The Eagles, Niners, Cowboys, I think all played at 4:30, just so that way everyone was giving their full effort. You didn't know what was going on. Yeah. So to see that happen for the Cowboys, I mean, Jalen Hurts didn't even need to play. The Eagles could have lost 50-0, and it still wouldn't have mattered because the Cowboys lost to Washington. So, again, I've been saying all year I'm not afraid of the Cowboys. I honestly am hoping the Eagles see the Cowboys because I don't think it would be that close in the second round of the playoffs. But it's as an Eagles fan, it's always fun to see a Cowboys collapse, and it's just about that time. We're not gonna look at the Eagles as if they weren't amidst a collapse. Let's not forget that. And this was my only gripe with Eagles fans. Let's not act like that season that was so perfect seemed to almost get out of your reach, and that's where I text you on my, I would say, emotional of. Let's not forget that we'll talk about this later. That the Eagles almost lost it. It came out to at the end of the day, you almost fucked it off. Doesn't count. But you almost fucked it off. Exactly.
And again, at the end of the day, you have to keep it honest with yourself of we almost lost it at the end of the season. And that's the worst time.
Yeah. But again, you almost lost it without your MVP quarterback. I mean, the Eagles were 14-1 with their starting quarterback in. So again, if Jalen Hurts was in and lost to the Cowboys and lost to the Saints and he looked that bad, like Minshew did, then I'm coming on here with a different energy. I'm coming on here with like Eagles might fall to the Bucks, or Eagles might, you know what I mean?
You'll have my energy, the energy I have. That's what you would have right now.
Yeah, a lower voice, kind of a little upset.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough to see. And this game was, again, we'll touch on the Eagles Giants, but it's tough to go 14-1 with your starter and be, concerned that much.
Concerned, exactly. That's all my point was, that you were a little concerned. But as we turn over to the Cowboys, I was met with, what the fuck do people want me to do in this situation? Mm-hmm. Like, Tone was talking shit to me. People were talking shit to me. I'm like, have you not watched the Cowboys all year? Have you seen us squeak by all year? Have you seen me say on the podcast that Dak Prescott is the late season fucking Kirk Cousins? Have you not seen me say these things? And I've said these stuff. I said, I don't have trust in Dak. I was cool with, and I called you when I was in the gym, because I was saying, was it 3 or 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, I went Hurts. I said, draft Hurts. Yeah. Dak is not your guy. Draft Hurts. And we didn't pick up Hurts. We had chances to pick up quarterbacks, and we didn't. And now we're met with, most likely, we'd be dumb not to draft a quarterback in this round, or pick up some free agencies, or see where it goes, right? But when it comes down to this Washington game, I am blessed and happy that I had so much family over here this weekend. It was a lot of my family was in town, and they were over my house, and I couldn't by myself watch that game. I'm glad I didn't, because I would have broke my TV to watch something so sorry as this. Now, that backup quarterback, whatever, third string, whatever it may be, he's not a third string quarterback. Let's not act like the Washington doesn't even have quarterbacks. Like, you have Carson Wentz sitting on the bench. They had nobody. It was the situation pretty much the Titans were in, where they brought in a quarterback and just threw him out there to play, versus Dallas and fucking Jacksonville. Same situation pretty much. When I looked at that game, really, if you look at the score, we really lost by 16 more points. If you watch the game, he threw a pick in the end zone and then missed 2 field goals. Like, look at those blessings. They missed 2 field goals, and he threw a pick in the end zone. Like, he threw a pick in the red zone. Like, without though, you take all that away, we lose even worse. Yeah. And again, I can't say excuses or anything like that, but I knew going into later in the season, once we lost our defense, I said our year is over. It's sad to say, but when you have no defensive backs, when you have a banged up, and I'm starting to see, especially when it comes to Micah Parsons, he's fucked. Micah Parsons is hurt, and he's playing. And it's like, it's sad to see, like, why isn't he playing up to that caliber we wanted to? I mean, the guy's playing with a cast. No matter what ball out you're in the league, can't hold that to you. But our whole defense is banged up, and that's what wins you games. Now, let's transition over to the other side of the offense. I think Dak probably had his worst game he's ever played in his entire career in the league, right? We always mention when Dak goes, he'll go first half, he'll throw a pick six, and then he's perfect. He'll go a fucking 20 for 31 or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? And in this game, he couldn't transition back to what it was. They could never figure it out. It was one of those where, I mean, we had 9 3 and outs in the game. Yeah. So I know you didn't fucking watch the game. So that's why I was like, the Eagles were on at the same time. But we had 9 3 and outs. Like, we got no movement, bro. We got the ball, fucking first possession, turn up, drop the punt, and give it back to them in the red zone. It was just, it was almost to the point where it's like, no one came to play, so just take the starters out. If they don't want to be there, take the starters out. You could tell it was
got a better effort.
Yeah. Exactly. It was one of those games where I guess they thought it was a gimme. But I've said it before. What is the most dangerous team in the league? A team that has nothing to win for. They have nothing to lose. They have, like, why not go fuck up your team for no reason, right? Why not go fuck you guys up and end my season at least with a win? Go out with the win and prepare for next year. Who gives a fuck? And that's all that Washington did. Washington didn't play no differently. Washington looked like shit as well, but it just was a shittier team that played bad. And I've said this, Dak isn't the guy, and it sucks that I'm going to have to go through another time like a Tony Romo, because Jerry Jones plays his favorites. He loves him. He loves a quarterback that plays into the system, that plays into the narrative of being America's team quarterback, and that's what Dak is, and that's what it's going to be. But it's so crazy to see such a quarterback fall off. That's unbelievable, because there's no excuse for not winning. There's no excuse for having Pollard, Zeke, CD. And again, I think the biggest reason we lost is, take a guess why you think offensively, why I say we definitely lost this game, because the game plan went to who?
Yeah, exactly.
Went exactly to Noah Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
CD legit on third down waved it off and said, I'm out, and walked off the fucking field.
I didn't watch the full game, but I saw somebody tweet pretty funny that Noah Brown has to have some sort of blackmail on Dak Prescott. Has to.
It's no sense. It's a dumb. You have fucking CeeDee Lamb. You have a generational wide receiver on your team. Like, it's like not throwing a fucking AJ Brown.
Well, even Gallup,
your third string.
I'd put Gallup ahead of Noah Brown too.
Gallup had two catches, and then Gallup had some drops. Brown had drops and almost tipped picks. It's like, what are we doing? What is going into this game? And it's sad to see that this team is going out this way, because next year will be even worse. This might be the first time you see back to back NFC championships go to the Eagles, because we'll lose Dane, our defensive coordinator. We'll lose our defensive back coach. Yep. We'll most likely, I'll be surprised if Zeke's still there. So now it's a transition year. It's restart from ground up. So it's like, this is where you kind of throw your ducks in a row. And we knew that last year. And this is the year we brought everyone back possible. And it's not going our way. I have nothing to say for the Cowboys. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. The defense is gone. There's nothing I can tell you. And I don't know what team is showing up. I have no idea. If you ask me, Malik, what's the score? I don't know how Tampa Bay is showing up. And I don't know how the Cowboys are showing up. It's going to be who the fuck knows?
True. And you brought up a good point, and this may sound stupid, but you just touched on the Cowboys had 9 3-and-outs against Washington.
Yes.
That to me is more concerning than Dak having 1 or 2 picks. And what I mean by that is, like you just mentioned, we see it every week. I mean, we saw Dak against the Eagles threw a pick 6, but then he was perfect the rest of the game. I mean, we see interceptions are 1 or 2 bad throws that do change the course of the game. But when you look at the landscape of it, having 9 3-and-outs to have no rhythm within your offense. And then at that point, it just seems like halfway through, these guys just fucking gave up. Maybe they were looking at their phones or the scoreboard. Eagles are up by 19 at one point. Who's to say they were just like, fuck all, let's move on. The problem is, again, we've seen Sam Howell, who was a rookie quarterback. He was just thrown in to say for Washington, let's see what we drafted here. Again, I obviously watched all Eagles Cowboys and watched Gardner Minshew, who looked like fucking dog shit against the Saints, throw for nearly 400 yards against that Dallas defense. Now you got to play the GOAT. And I know he's 45, and I know they have not looked nearly as good as Tom Brady teams have been looking his entire career. But if there's one thing that man knows how to do, and that he will do, is pick apart your weakness on defense. Which is going to be the middle of that field. And it's going to be Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, running right up the middle. Like, Brady's going to know how to pick apart that defense. So that's going to be very
the blessing is a lot of our defense are hurt. Guys are coming back. Van Der Esch is coming back. A couple of our DBs are also coming back. We just actually picked up a free agent that is a defensive back. I forget his name right now. He is a veteran. So it's like we're trying to put all the pieces together, but it's just not there. It's just not Dak. And I think Dak has to have probably one of the best years. And this is what I'm saying. It almost seems as if he has an every other year slump. And that's just the way Dak has been. It's like every other year he just falls into this fucking slump of not being able to get it together. It was last year he played his ass off because he had nothing. He had no, you could say he was balling his ass off because he had, and that's the reason the year before that or 2 years before that let him get hurt. He's had these off years are just so off. It doesn't make any sense. And I really think, talking over what people I know is that he has no quarterback coach. He hasn't been coached up his whole entire time in the league.
Yeah.
At all. His quarterback coach has been the offensive coordinator, which is a backup quarterback that was a backup quarterback to him. Think about the situation. You want to know why people, and one of my boys at the gym, he was arguing with me. He told me there was no way that you could possibly see that Jalen Hurts was the guy. And I said, I 100% told him. That's why I called you last night too. I was like, I 100% told Eagles fans, Jalen Hurts is your guy. The stuff I've seen from him in college and what he would develop into surpasses what you think right now. And look what happened. He got coached up. He got used to the league. And look where he's at now. Dak has never gone through that. Dak has not been coached up. I don't understand how guys come off the field and there's no corrections. When you come off the field, you're supposed to be sitting next to your fucking offensive coordinator. You're supposed to sit next to your quarterback coach, position coach. You never see that. You just see Dak and his players sitting next to each other and him looking at the iPad. You never see corrections being made. It's just whatever's. That's all it is. And it's like, come on, man.
And that's on both sides, though. Now, not to come at Dak, but that's on both sides. And one thing I saw on Jalen Hurts, and again, the one thing, I might have even sent it to you, maybe I didn't, but the Eagles, this past Monday, I think, coaches gave the team off. You have the bye, go enjoy it. Jalen Hurts went right up to the head coach and the offensive coordinator, said, I'm going to be in at 12 o'clock. We're going over film. Like part of it too is on the player. Like I get, maybe the coaching staff isn't all there, but again, I will say when Dallas was rolling, a year ago, and even this year when they're rolling, a lot of the props is given to that offensive coordinator. A lot of props is given to that system and these players and this talent around them. So again, it's time to start putting that real blame on Dak. I think you and I discussed off air what Colin Cowherd said going into the Eagles game, and that it seemed like every year there's been somebody at fault in Dak's career other than Dak, whether it's, Zeke when he was suspended, maybe, just his rookie year, he ran into Aaron Rodgers. Now it's Mike McCarthy, who, by the way, has led this Dallas team to back-to-back 12-win seasons that, nobody's talking about. And I agree with you. I think he's an idiot, and it just shows the talent on this team. But it's always been someone else's fault. Maybe it is just Dak. Maybe he is what he is, and what you and I have both been saying of an average middle-tier quarterback in this league at best, especially when you look around the league. Like you watch Patrick Mahomes on Saturday night, there's no shot Dak's even close to what he's doing. There's no shot he's close to Joe Burrow or even Jalen Hurts now at this point.
I want to say this right here. I would even say that Dak is if he were to be in, let's say you put Dak in MVP, if he has the same year, I would consider you say Dak is a system quarterback. Dak is in a system because no matter what, we can look back to Cooper Rush. Yeah, we lost against the Eagles, top-notch team. But how many wins did Cooper Rush go on with the win with players around him? He is to me a system quarterback. That's a system around him. It's the players around him. It's when he has he has a great offensive line, when he has a great running backs, when he has a great wide receiver core. We have fucking Coop, when you have Zeke, and then when you have fucking CeeDee Lamb, and you have all these guys around you, it's like, man, step back and be like, who is the blame here? When we put the ball in just Dak hands and say, Dak, we need you to make a play, 30% chance he makes that play. I wouldn't go 30.
Yeah, and that even goes to your point. What you just told me, and I believe you, is that Dak had a really down year. He also missed 5-6 games, and here we are with Dallas at 12 wins.
Yeah.
So, again, if you were to get that better quarterback play than just average Dak Prescott, who knows where this Dallas team may be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think, too, my biggest takeaway is you can say, okay, Mike McCarthy has led the Cowboys to 10, 12-win seasons, whatever like that. This is still, and this is why Jerry Jones fucking sucks, is he's okay with having a winning record. He's okay with, he may say, I won a Super Bowl, that's why I'm still here, I won a Super Bowl. No. You put coaching that has had this amount of talent and hasn't won the big game, they're out of there.
Hasn't really won anything.
Black Monday, he's out of there. I'm sorry, you're gone. Off season, you're out of there. It was being questioned last year. And he was like, I don't know. And he comes back. It's like, I think we have to really begin to think that Mike McCarthy's job should be at risk. You should be in risk of, like, talent has won you those games, not coaching, just pure talent. And just honestly, we beat who we're supposed to beat. That's barely above 500. That's it. Yeah. We didn't beat big time games.
And again, this will never happen. And again, this is also a blessing and a curse, I think, for the Dallas Cowboys, is you kind of look around the league. And again, you're seeing, what are the top teams in the league right now other than the 49ers? It's the Chiefs, it's the Bills, it's the Bengals, it's the Eagles. What do they all have in common? High level, some of the best quarterback play in the league. If you don't have a quarterback, you really don't have anything. Again, the 49ers are a wild exception to that. But let me ask you this, and what I think they should do, but again, never will do. I know you're ready now, but let's just say the Cowboys beat the Bucs and then lose to the Eagles in a close game in the next round in Philly. Would you give it one more year with Dak and McCarthy, and let's just say they miss the playoffs or get to that wild card round again just to lose in the first round? Would you then just blow it completely up, fire the coach, trade Dak for assets, and go and get a young quarterback that you can try to develop into something?
I'd rather lose now. I mean, even if you give me upset wins, even if we beat Tampa Bay by 3 points, by a field goal, fourth at the end of the game, and then we go into Philly and it's a close, it's like that. Those are flukes that have gotten, and that's just playoff football. Playoff football can be so close, right? To give you that point, it still does not take away from the lack of just not coaching, the lack of awareness he has in the game plan on both sides, McCarthy and Dak. let's not mention what was it? When we played the Eagles, Dak runs out of bounds and celebrates before the 2-minute warning. We have to run a play, and now we kick a field goal. Like, that situational football, he just doesn't fucking have. And it's sad. I think he goes somewhere else, gets coached up, and you may see a totally different quarterback. Totally different. I could blame the system and say, maybe Dak does have those qualities, but he just isn't being coached up to get there. It's not the game speed. He's played for too long it's these little nuances that he just doesn't have. And it's like, it sucks. It sucks to see, because it's like, I would love to have a quarterback that has some swag and I can trust. I have never had a quarterback that I can trust with full heart. I've had to deal with Tony Romo my entire fucking upbringing, and I had to deal with Dak now. It's like, I thought Dak was the guy. I was like, fuck, Dak Prescott just took over Tony Romo's spot. He gives us he can run. It's a totally different type of quarterback. Let's get it. Nah, sorry. Falls into the system. He's Jerry Jones type of guy. So it's just bullshit. And that's the swagger I wish I had like the Eagles. And speaking of the Eagles, some of the things that's going around the league that I'm hearing from people was, I didn't watch the game at all, was that game wasn't as pretty as it looked like. Like the Eagles didn't look that good. People are saying Hurts still looks pretty banged up. Again, now he has 2 weeks to sit off and rest up. You never know what he can come back with. So what was your opinion of that game?
Honestly, went into it really without a care. I mean, exactly what could have happened in the fact of it was close. The Giants were just making fucking weird plays. Like you said, it was their backups dudes playing with something to prove. But again, I think what people might be missing, and maybe this is me just making an excuse for a team that didn't look good in the Eagles. Hurts is not 100%. I don't think he will be the rest of the way. We're just going to have to accept that, good or bad. He still played the entire game, which I didn't love. Eagles were up 16-0 at one point in the second quarter. And again, none of it really came easy, but I was screaming, just fucking take him out. Yeah. Take him out. You could always put him back in. I know you don't want to do that, but you're up 16
we took Dak out.
I mean, you're up 16 points against second and third stringers at home at about halftime. If you don't win that game with all your other starters, you probably don't deserve the 1 seed anyway. Mm-hmm. So just fucking take him out. But they played him the whole game, whatever. The offense was just vanilla. It was almost like a practice, it seemed like, for Jalen Hurts. Let's just see what your arm can do. It was nothing spectacular. He didn't run the ball at all. And even when he did, he would go down after a yard or two. They clearly told him, do not get touched. Yeah. Do not get touched. Not worth it. So the offense was, you might have been working with a quarter of the playbook. Yeah. And so, again, it was a horrible game to watch. It was boring as all hell. They had a few nice drives that just stalled out in the red zone. But again, your job was to go in, win by 1 point if you had to, get the 1 seed, rest Jalen Hurts, rest Lane Johnson. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was back, but give him another week. Josh Sweat, that was the goal. Just win this game, whatever the fuck it takes. Jalen, go out and practice in a game time speed against backups, which you'll probably be fine against anyway, and get the win. So was I disappointed by it? Not really. I mean, again, I think I was telling you for weeks now, Jalen's more injured than they're leading us to be. And so I really didn't care. There was nothing that this past Sunday was going to show me for me to feel any worse or any confident going into the playoffs.
Yeah. So now speaking on that, right? I'll add an infographic to it, right? We have the brackets of where we look to see our teams going in regards to the entire league. What does our picture look like? And this would be dope to have as we go forward to see who was close going into it. Yeah. Let's start with the AFC. We're talking about the playoff bracket for this year's playoffs and Super Bowl run. Let's start with AFC. AFC, we have Bengals. I'm sorry. We have Jaguars versus Chargers, Bengals versus Ravens, Bills versus Dolphins. Let me see who you picked, brother.
Yeah, let's I'll dive in quickly here. This one I really went back and forth with the Jags and Chargers game. I guess we'll start that. Mm-hmm. I went back and forth, man. I've been rooting for Doug Peterson all year. That game on Saturday was fun to watch. Jacksonville, surprisingly, did you watch that? That stadium had some fucking energy. That was fun to watch. It was cool to see Jaguars in a primetime game. Mm-hmm. I really went back and forth with this, but at the end of the day, I had to take the Chargers. I think it's going to be close, but I think they're getting healthy enough to where I think they just out-talent the Jaguars right now. Again, I think it's going to be close, but I just think you look at each roster, I think the Chargers probably have the advantage. So I'm going Chargers in this one.
I picked the Jaguars to win, to edge out the Chargers in that one, simply because of for some reason the Chargers find a way to lose.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going with, and I'm coming off the swagger the Jaguars have off of beating the Titans, even though it's some bullshit. Off of beating them, as well as the swagger they've had for some history. They have some history of making it to this point and not getting together with the old, when Jalen Ramsey was there and stuff like that. So I'm going with the Jaguars. Next one, Bengals Ravens. Who do you got, man? Now Bengals. The thing is your boy playing?
Lamar, I don't know. If he does play, if he doesn't play, it's Bengals. I don't know how close this one will be. Let's talk about the Bengals. You want to talk about swag? With everything that was going on with the potential coin toss, for those of you who don't know, we'll touch on it real quick. If the Ravens were to beat the Bengals and everything worked out to where they were playing again as they are right now, a coin flip would have determined who was home. The Bengals went out. They throttled the Ravens. I think it was the first touchdown of the game. Joe Mixon took a coin out of his glove and flipped it. And then they all – dude, it was tough, man. That team's got swag. Joe Burrow's walking around the locker room with a stogie again. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be Bengals all over.
He's my biggest fuck-up prediction in the draft. I said he would be a bust, and he's my biggest fuck-up.
I did not think he was going to be all that great. Started at Ohio State. Man, that would have been –
He wasn't going to win that locker room. He knew where the fuck to get out of there. I got the Bengals winning, of course, in that game. Bills, Dolphins. Just say Bills. We can move on.
Not much to touch on there. Okay,
so let's go on the other side. NFC. This is where shit gets shicey. I guess let's start with San Francisco Seahawks.
Exactly. Start with another easy one. Again, we talk about divisional games are tough. And it's always, 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 for whatever reason, so fucking difficult to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. The 49ers, though, are that good.
Yeah.
The line is 10. I think the Seahawks will keep it within that 7 to 10 range. Niners are just too good. They're not going to lose.
One thing we can't not mention is the quarterback for the Seahawks and the change of a career he has made for himself. Geno Smith. To see Geno go from one of the electrifying college football players at West Virginia to getting drafted to not really having nothing pan out in the league to years later now bringing kind of some swagger back to the Seahawks. The Seahawks kind of were dead after they saw Wilson leave. And years before that, that 12th man stadium was still rocking maybe, but it wasn't where it is now. And to see them pull off that late upset, it was pretty good to see.
Good for them. Making the playoffs in a rebuild year. And Aaron Rodgers, man, choked it up on Sunday night. So they're here.
Well, we should talk about A-Rod later. But I got the 49ers winning that one. Yep. Vikings, Giants, who do you got?
Battle of the Frauds. I guess just because.
Bro, that's hilarious. Battle of the Frauds. Yeah, hell yeah. That's awesome.
Just because. Yeah, these are the two teams, Malik, we've been saying all year. Like, they're not as good as their record says.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with the home team. I'll take the Vikings in a close one.
I'll take the Vikings on that one. All right. Going to now.
Yeah.
Bucks versus Cowboys. Who do you got?
Never bet against the GOAT. Tom Brady and the Bucks have looked like shit. Dallas looked like shit this past week, but in all honesty, if I'm kind of just looking at this thing in a broad spectrum, the Cowboys are favorites in this game for a good reason. Never bet against the GOAT. That man Tom Brady is going to beat the Cowboys. Never has lost to the Cowboys in his entire career. That continues.
Really?
Never. I think he's 8-0.
No matter what, I'm taking the Bucks in this as well. I would be highly surprised, and I think that that could end my year with like, fuck it, we beat Tom Brady. But this is we're serving Tom Brady the steak on the platter for him, right? We're like giving him the best possible outcome to go into this game. He was watching film. He's watching film like, I can't wait to tear the fucking Cowboys apart. Different defense he's going to face, but no matter what, this is an outsmarting guy, and I think he's going to outsmart our defense completely. So got the Bucks moving on. Okay, so now I wonder why my thing cut weird. But so then on that side from our picks, it would be Bengals Bills back in AFC. Bengals Bills. You have the Chargers Chiefs.
I got Chargers Chiefs. Yeah, you got Jags Chiefs.
I have Jags Chiefs.
Let's start with the Chiefs. I'll start with you, Chiefs and Jags. I think I know which way you're going to go.
I'm going Chiefs all the way up. So just move on.
Chiefs are going to beat the Chargers as well. This is going to be a game where I feel like it'll start tough, but like you said earlier, the Chargers are going to find a way to screw it up, and the Chiefs are just that good.
Speaking of the Chiefs first, this is why I think Mahomes this is the first time I think Mahomes has a big chip on his shoulder. He's back in this.
Yeah.
He has to go back and say, the last time we were in this picture, I lost to Tom Brady in Tampa. I don't think we see him lose 2 Super Bowls back to back of him going. I don't think we see that happening when it comes to him. I think he has a lot on his shoulders. So I'm going to take the Chiefs all the way up. And then you have the Bills versus Bengals.
Yep.
I have the same name, yeah. Who do you have there? This is going to be a great game as well.
I can't wait for this one. The pure feel. Obviously, I'll be rooting for. I don't know who I'd be rooting for. It'd be cool to see the Bills, but for whatever reason, I see the Bengals winning this one. I got the Bengals.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey man,
Joe's dicey, man.
Last year they skid their way through, so it could happen again.
They know how to win on the road.
I got the Bills winning that one, going straight up. And this is where I think, honestly, a pre-Super Bowl will happen. Bills versus Chiefs. We might see one of the best games that we see of the year if that goes down that way.
That's what last year's was, if you remember that one, the back and forth.
Hell yeah. I put money on that game, and the Chiefs put it out for me.
Yeah.
All right, going over now. On my bracket, on your bracket, who do you got? You got the Vikings versus Vikings versus San Fran?
Yep. This is going to be a game that gets ugly quick. I think this is a game that everyone says, damn, the Vikings really weren't that good. I think the Niners kill them.
Okay, I agree. I have the Niners going forward. Then on the other side, we have Bucks versus Eagles. I already know where you're leaning. You're leaning, of course, to the Eagles, the Birds to go in. Realistically, though, do you look at this game being closer, or do you see this game that we can at least get straight away by 11?
So here's going to be your narrative going into that game, right? And I'm a big Tom Brady fan. I know I'm the Eagles fan that's in the minority. Jalen Hurts' revenge game. Last year in the wild card round, it was Jalen Hurts and the Eagles going into Tampa Bay, and they got fucking smoked. That game was not close. It was almost like the national championship game last night where you knew it was over right away. Everything of Hurts' flaws were pointed out. The defense sucked. It was like 31-0 in the third quarter. Jalen Hurts' revenge game, I think he remembers that. That's the reason he's been balling out this year and how much work that he's put in. It's the reason that the Eagles made all the moves to get A.J. Brown and get C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Jalen Hurts' revenge game, I think I can never be too comfortable with Brady, but this won't be a nail-biting win by a last-second field goal game. I can see the Eagles coming in fresh at the Link. It'll be rocking. It'll probably be the Sunday night game because Dallas and Tampa play on Monday night, so they're going to want to give them an extra day to rest. I think it'll be a fun one.
Yeah, I have the Eagles pulling that one out. I think that your defense can hold up Brady. I think your offense can be so much more electric against their defense. So now we have in the conference championships, we have in the AFC, Bills, Chiefs, and then we have on the NFC, 49ers, Eagles. Let's start off with the AFC. That's what I have. I'm sorry. Do you have that as well?
No, I got Bengals, Chiefs.
Oh, you have Bengals, Chiefs. Okay. No matter what, I think I have the Chiefs pulling that out again versus the Bills. I don't think Josh Allen, I don't think those guys can have it in them. They have had two. Again, I'm going to stick by it. Those last second wins during the regular season will come back to bite you in the ass when it comes to big time play. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to let them hang around as much as they did last time. They know they have to go in with fierce. I'm sure the Chiefs will be home, of course. And I think it's a different game, no matter what, same weather conditions. But I see the Chiefs pulling that one out.
Yeah, this for me, I had Bengals Chiefs rematch of last year's fun playoff game. I think it'll be
even dirtier. If you see that one, I give the Chiefs way more confidence in that game.
Yep. No, I think Chiefs, again, like you said, Mahomes with that chip on his shoulder, he remembers what last year was. Bengals have a good ride, but they can't do what they did last year, and the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl.
That was a fucking once-in-a-lifetime ride for Cincy fans.
Yeah,
to
crazy.
Go.
Crazy.
So then, on my end, on both ends, we have Chiefs versus Eagles.
Yep.
Now, this is a Super Bowl game. I want you to have.
So you have the Eagles beating the Niners?
Oh yeah, I have you guys beating the Niners.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I skipped that. Yeah, I have the Eagles beating the Niners. Simply fact, it would be two young teams, but the Niners are too young. And I think no matter how much you try to coach them up, the Eagles have been playing this way all year long, and the San Fran is just getting to that point. It's great. You will always want to go into the playoffs or in a streak, and at some point that streak's going to run out, and I think that's when it hits them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying for weeks that the Niners are the team that scares me just because of how quick and how good that defense is. I think they can really pose a huge threat for Jalen. But this Brock Purdy show is going to end hard in Philly. I mean, it's a great story and it's fun, and it's the second best team in the NFC. But Brock Purdy's going to come in and shit himself when he comes into Philly. He's not going to know what the hell hit him. I think I was letting you know early. My girl's a huge Niners fan, so if anyone wants to let me crouch on their couch after the Eagles win, I'm going to need it for about a couple weeks. But it's going to be birds. Yeah.
So then that brings you a Super Bowl, 1 versus 1.
Yeah.
That rarely ever happens.
I know.
1 seed versus 1 seed going in.
And as I'm filling out this bracket, I'm like, fuck, man, we something's got to be mixed up, right?
Something's gonna fuck up here. But I had the Chiefs versus Eagles in the Super Bowl. I'm sure you had the same thing. Yeah, you had the same thing. Chiefs versus Eagles. Take your bias out the way. Let's see you're a fan. I don't think you can. I don't know if I were you, I wouldn't say what a score could be. I would say I just pray to the gods that we pull it off and we win the same way we beat Brady.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun. That would be Andy Reid, obviously long time, probably the best
I forgot
Eagles
about that.
ever had. Going up against Jalen Hurts, you'll have Hurts and Mahomes, two African American quarterbacks playing the Super Bowl when the last time that happened.
Yeah.
Probably, two of the most electric quarterbacks. Take the over in that game, whatever it is, because I think it's going to be points. What would I pick? Fuck, man. Again, I'm going to go with the Eagles because as fun as this game I think would be, as big as the fireworks, the touchdowns back and forth, it's always going to come down to what defense can get a stop. And I trust the Eagles defense more than I trust that Chiefs defense. And again, the one thing that everyone talks about is how good this Chiefs D-line is. They have some game records on that side, and so do the Eagles. Like, they're going to be, man, huffing for air, chasing Mahomes, chasing Hurts. I really think that Jalen Hurts is just a different breed right now. And you talk about chip on your shoulder. I think I even sent you Eagles win the division. They clinched the 1 seed. Jalen Hurts' speech, again, you could convince me that they lost. It was, we got to clean this shit up. We are not close to playing our best football. Like, this dude's playing with a chip on his shoulder, and I think it's just going to be another one of those magical games. It'll be fun and exciting. I'm not going to be able to breathe during all of it, but the Eagles D is going to come up with a needed stop in the end where I don't think the Chiefs can.
No shot. I'll stand by it. I have the Chiefs fucking you guys up.
You better hope.
And I'm being biased. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to. My biggest regret in my entire life was rooting for you and my uncle Mark to see the Eagles win the Super Bowl. And I rooted for you guys versus Brady because I hated Brady at that time. My biggest regret is doing that because the Eagles fans would not do the same thing for me. So you would never see me ever again root for the Eagles to win a Super Bowl.
You better hope. You better hope that don't happen because this show is going to be taken down if that happens.
If that happens, here's 2 things. We're definitely shooting it in person. Second thing, if you guys lose, this would be in 1 year. You see 2 of your teams lose a championship game. I would love that as a fan. I would fucking love that to see Philly lose 2. Now, here's something crazy that I didn't know going into this game. My boy just told me. Do you know that there's a bar in South Philly? It's called Big Charlie's in South Philly. It's a Kansas City bar that has years and years and years. Look it up. Look it up right now. I promise you'll be so amazed that this bar, it's in South Philly, that this bar has existed for so long that it legit looks like a shitty bar, but it has just Kansas City all out in there. If that ends up to be a Eagles versus Chiefs game in the Super Bowl, holy fuck. Cops better be surrounding that place. It's nuts. Good. Look, I'll put a picture here. It's fucking wild. Never knew that existed.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to have
in South Philly.
Yeah. Have security. Either way, whether
Either way.
it's the Eagles, if it's a win or a loss for the Birds, have it surrounded.
Yes, no matter what, because either Eagles fans lose, it might be crazier if Eagles fans lose because they gonna fucking tear that shit down.
Even if they win.
You just no. If you win, you might just get some shit talking, throwing trash at them. But if they lose, you might see some destruction. That's hilarious. Yeah. Now, this is where I have some disagreements with this. I hate that it comes in your conference. I hate that it deals with conference play and what deals with your ranking. I don't agree with that. I think when it comes down to the playoff scenario, you've made the playoffs, right? Then it should go by your record. How good were you that year? That then tells how you get home field advantage. To me, I don't understand how we're playing away at Tampa Bay with the year.
I get what you're saying.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, that's been the age-long argument because you almost see this every year. Is you see one division, maybe even two, really struggle like the Bucs did. I mean, NFC East was one of those divisions. So that's the question, because if you want that, then you're going to have to make divisions obsolete. Like you look at the NBA, there's divisions in the NBA, but the playoffs go by strict conference record. It's best to worst, and the divisions really don't fucking matter. So you would have to knock out all the divisions. I don't think they're going to do that.
No.
Because, again, I mean, it's just, in my opinion, I agree with you. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't say agree, but I like that's part of sports. Like sometimes you get the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you are the better team, I know there is a home field advantage, but if you're that much better, it shouldn't matter in the end. You should win either way.
Yeah, I mean, either way, last year we had home field advantage and 49ers came and kicked our ass at home.
Exactly.
So,
and we see all the time, you know, the Bengals last year had to go on the road every single game and still made it to the Super Bowl and almost won. So, again, that's kind of the other argument that, home field is a big thing, but at the end of the day, the better team is going to win.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good stamp to leave it for the NFL. Anything else you think we should add?
No. With that, I'm looking forward to a fun weekend sitting on the couch with stress-free football.
I was actually thinking, I think last week, if I ever see the Cowboys go to Super Bowl in my lifetime, how am I going to handle that stress of that game? I don't know how. I'm not having a Super Bowl party. I think I'm staying home by myself and just watching the game.
Well, the good thing is you won't have to worry about it. So.
You fucking hater. Hey, your time will come, big dog. Don't worry. Yeah. Your time will come, Playboy. Now let's move on to college football and the biggest fucking fuckery of. I actually had a debate we'll have later on in another episode of college football versus the NFL. What do you like more? The reasons for which one? I had a long ass discussion last night at the gym, and that fucking game then helped me out with being such a fucking disgrace of a game. We all knew what happened, but I don't even know what was the score.
I don't even. It might have been 56-7.
Yeah. So I saw at the start of the fourth quarter, all their backups were in. That's how crazy it was.
They were eating. They were eating on the sidelines.
They were eating wings on the sidelines. Georgia was. But I think the one thing I take away from this game, there's two things I think I have. One being, this is why ranking needs to be better. Yeah. And here's why. Ohio State, again, should have been ranked. It should have been Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, TCU in the bracket. That's how it should have been ranked through. So that would put Georgia 1. What was it then? It was Michigan was 2, TCU 3, and Ohio State was 4. Correct?
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yep. So this is why it should have been reversed. We should have been playing Michigan, and Georgia should have been playing fucking TCU. And in my eyes, that's why I said the bracket has to be different. You have to take that into account of how the bracket should be established, especially when it comes down to the national championship game. What game do you want to see? Either way, any way you play it, who do you want to see? Yeah, and I get it's your fair shot chance, but that's why I had that argument as well as it should have been sent differently. And as you see, Nick Saban was fucking pissed because I bet you no matter what, even the year Alabama had, if they were to sneak into that, you would have never saw that go down.
No, and again, I'm going to have a statement that you probably will disagree with, and I'll get to that. But this is why the playoff needed to be expanded, because
I agree with you.
You have a game like TCU Michigan, where sometimes those games happen. Like TCU was just a hotter team, and the ball fell their way. But when you have now 12 teams, you're going to have to play 2-3 games to get into the Natty. Those games aren't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think the second best team still, after this college football season, wasn't even in the playoff. It was Alabama. I mean, let's be real. It was Alabama. The SEC, we saw fucking last night. They still run college football. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're right. If you just took the 4 best teams from this past year in any order, it would have been Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Bama. Throw them in and let them fight it out.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean,
that's why I said it's a difference in schedule. It's a difference in play.
It is.
It's a difference in the level of go. And so wait, you're saying that even if it's not next year, that when they want to expand it, it's not going to be 8. It's going to be 12.
I think it'll be 12. And what they'll do,
I thought it was going to be 8.
So I think it's 12, but the first 4 teams are going to have a bye. So you'll only have 8 play, and then
I love that. In my eyes, and my boy, he was arguing against me why he hates it. He's like, you see these games, and I'm like, really? Do you see this type of game, especially at this level?
No,
but in my eyes, that you definitely will be like, when it gets to that point, you might have the first round upset. You might see that gets to the 8, the Sweet 8. Like when you see that 8, then it's like,
exactly.
See ya. That's not happening again.
Exactly.
See ya. And I'll tell you, you get even more tougher ball out of it. I don't give a fuck. We could lose another game. We could lose the game of the season. That means you know what you do? You take away. Did they lose? Did they get rid of a game, or they kept the schedule the same and just added the bracket?
That's a good question. I
hope they got rid of a game, because I'd rather you get rid of Alabama playing fucking Toledo. Get rid of one of those.
Yeah. If you're gonna get rid of a game, you're right. Yeah.
Take that off.
Take off a non-conference game to where Alabama, Georgia, any of these schools, schedule fucking Florida A&M, like
exactly
teams that you never even heard of before.
The next thing is what I'm gonna make the statement now. I fucking hate Stetson Bennett.
Oh my god!
And I want to take away. Fuck that. He's 26 years old, whatever it may be. He balled out. He did what he had to do. He has a team around him. But I can guarantee you, I would put $100 on it. In 3 or 4 years, you'll see him looking for a chance to go play somewhere else if he's drafted somewhere. And
I think,
or if he doesn't even play.
I was going to say, I think I texted you. I don't even know if he will get drafted. Who's going to draft a 26-year-old quarterback who really doesn't have any legitimate talent? A team's going to take a flyer on him like the 5th round, but he's cocky as shit. All these Georgia players, that's another thing I want to bring up.
Yeah.
Georgia, you now are the program. Let's get that straight. But the amount of interviews, and Stetson Bennett was one of them, of, we were doubted all year, and everyone had us going 5-6. What are we talking about? You guys were number one 90% of the year.
Yeah.
Stop adding that bullshit chip on your shoulder because it's just not true.
Also, what Georgia has to know is Georgia is losing a shit. These are all COVID players. You have to remember. These are players who got an extra year of eligibility on this team. It happens. That's what Bama's out of it. They started fresh. This is their year of fresh new talent, of guys that have to step up, and this is the year they had. But at the end of the day, let's see where you're at next year. Let's see when all these older cats leave, these guys that have been in the system for some time, when they walk out, and let's see where they're at. And I don't think Stetson Bennett is the guy. I mean, is also, I had another thing of if it's not Stetson Bennett, imagine now, what does this look like for the league? If in a positive way. Now that you have a guy who's 26, he got more years of eligibility, that he now you may not see those, Jalen Hurts, where he's kind of thrown out in there into the wolves and he doesn't have a good first year. He has to take some time to develop. Let's see if maybe you're 26 and you come out and you're developed. You could play right away. That might show you some things of maybe these quarterbacks, these guys, they might need a little bit more time of eligibility to get NFL ready. I don't know. I was just throwing that out. Maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah, it is. I think what teams might even look for more so, because you even have, you could have a 21-year-old like Bryce Young or CJ Stroud that have just as much, if not more, college experience playing at high level like Stetson Bennett than a guy who's fucking 26 years old. And, I think I was sending you the list. Like, Jalen Hurts is younger than Stetson Bennett. Jalen Hurts has been in the league for 3 fucking years.
Lamar Jackson and him are the same age.
Yeah. Lamar won the Heisman, it feels like a decade ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't expect to see him on a team. I'd almost be surprised if he made a team this year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But the way too early rankings have come out in college football, and we'll end it here. Of Georgia, number 1, I'm okay with. Ohio State number 2, Michigan number 3, FSU at number 4, Alabama 5, Penn State 6, SC, USC 7, LSU 8, Oregon 9, and Tennessee 10. Too early to say. I think my only gripe right now is that I'm confused as to why FSU is number 4.
I think they're getting a lot of. I think they're getting a ton of
recruits
and guys that aren't leaving.
Oh, okay. I know they base off of that, and there's no way in my eyes that Penn State should be over USC.
Fuck no.
Or Tennessee.
Or even Oregon. I would leave the argument for Oregon.
Yeah. So I don't think Penn State should be in the top 10 because they fucking blow. But besides that, I think these are the teams you'll see top 10 regardless. Maybe Penn State would just be in there for this discussion. But I'm really excited to see what I think my biggest look this year is how does Tennessee come back after the year they had?
Yeah.
They had they started off the year hot, beating Bama and beating some big games, and they fell off a little bit. I'm really excited to see where USC goes. USC had, I think, too late of a run, and they couldn't catch up to them. They lost pretty late. But I'm really wanting to see that quarterback in the system for a complete year, see what it looks like, and building on it. I think the biggest thing we might see in the offseason is Jim Harbaugh staying. And again, you said with his top running back coming back, that shows me he probably is coming back.
Yep, definitely. I agree with you. I think, these rankings, again, I get it's somebody fell in love with Florida State and threw him at 4.
Yeah.
That's exactly what, when you said Jim Harbaugh coming back because Blake Corum's coming back.
Yeah, there it is.
I completely agree. There's no way, unless Harbaugh lied to him or doesn't know, right? Like, unless he's going to get interviewed now for the Cardinals job or the Colts job or whatever it is, and they offer him something that he can't turn down. But yeah, he definitely went up to Blake Corum and was like, yo, let's run this back. Way too early rankings. I'll give you a way too early national champion. I'll go USC. I think USC, with that quarterback, they're going to have the best quarterback in the nation. I'll throw out a team. Lincoln Riley's never been able to win the big one, so that's going to be, can the coach step up? But I think you saw things from Caleb Williams this year that there's going to be teams tanking for him next year. But I think he's going to bring it home.
He definitely can sell an extra transition. Of course, I'm going to stick with my guys, the Bucks. I think our only concern is who's going to be at that quarterback position. Because we have everyone coming back. We have Marvis Harris Jr. coming back. We have both of our running backs coming back. So I just can't wait to see what happens. Yeah, everyone's coming back. But I'm not sure about our quarterback. I can't wait to see some spring ball from him and see what that looks like. I will say, too, I like the Oregon at 9. Yeah. Look out for them. Yeah. Look out for them because that quarterback stood up a chance. They always falter in the hype. Like, people will hype them up. And then they fucking lose, and they don't hold up to that. So they have to hold up to that.
They were quietly really good for a big stretch of the season. Like, nobody was talking about them, and all of a sudden it was like Oregon moving up. Again, another returning veteran quarterback. I think that's just so key in college football. But they got some recruits. That's
going to be a fun team, right?
I think it is, yeah.
There's no way he's still eligible. I feel like he played 3 years at fucking Auburn.
He feels like one of those guys that's going to be there forever.
He's the same thing as Penn State's quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be Bo Nix.
Oh, my God.
It's the final year. Next year is his final year.
All right, guys. This has been anything else you want to stay?
No, I guess go Buccaneers.
Oh, fuck, suck my dick, bro. All right, guys. Hey, it's going to be an interesting week of football regardless. I don't get that upset. My expectations are already low, so we'll see where it goes. But thank you guys for tuning in to In Those We Trust podcast. Please continue to support at We Trust _podcast. Follow my guy Liam on Instagram at
Liam Stokes 11.
Thank you guys. Continue to support.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yep.